Hello, everybody. Welcome once again to Health Coach Tip Tuesday. If you are ready to dive in, drop the word walk into the chat, and we are going to send you our complete guide to giving lectures. That's a super awesome bonus today. And we will be talking about how to walk the talk so that you can become a natural leader in your community. Welcome to the Health Coach Tip Tuesday show, where every week we share tips, tools, and resources for health coaches and professionals so that you can confidently solve your clients' health issues and grow your career as a health coach or professional. I am your co-host and FDN Director of Course Enrollment, Piper Gibson, and you all know the man next to me. This is Reed Davis, and he is here to host with me and share his deep knowledge and expertise. How are you, Reed?
Fantastic. Thank you, Piper. It's good to see you.
Good to see you, as always. I hope you had a great weekend.
I had a really good weekend. It was my birthday on Saturday, and it was Father's Day Sunday, so I got double my pleasure off the weekend.
Awesome. That sounds fantastic. So if you are ready, let's get this show on the road. And we are going to teach everyone today about how to walk the talk so that they can become a natural leader in their community. Reed, why do you feel that it is important to walk the talk?
Well, you don't have to be perfect. That's one good thing. We've talked about that before. But you got to be doing the work on yourself. It kind of be like, I don't know, being a car mechanic with a really crappy car, some piece of crap that doesn't run, or the old saying of the shoemaker whose kids have no shoes, or anything like that. How could you run a church if you're not a person who's going to follow the doctrine you're preaching about? These kinds of things. So look, we're not preachers, but the idea is that if you're on the path yourself, people are more likely to follow you. So, being in a business requires some leadership skills, and walking the talk's the place to start. A lot of other places you could take that. And I just want to add, Piper, that it goes back to when I first started the FDN course in 2008. We made running labs on yourself a requirement. It was really obvious. If you're going to take my course in running lab work for your clients, you're going to run a couple on yourself. And so that's really important that people get that if you do the FDN course, you will run labs on yourself. I pay the lab fees because I want you to understand it and live it. And, even today, this morning already, I did a post-grad interview, as I do everything. And one of the first questions I asked, how's your own health? Did FDN help you with your own health? And 100% of the respondents who say yes, they had, something going on, say, hell yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And I've shared my story on here before, but for me, I really took it to work with my son, but I did the tests on myself, and there was a lot of aha moments for me, and it really did change my health as well. So, I am a firm believer in walking the talk and doing those tests on yourself to really look underneath the hood.
Thank you, buddy.
Yeah, welcome everybody who is just joining us. I see Suzanne and Liz and Buddy. If you are ready to get our guide, make sure to drop the word walk into the chat, and we are going to send you our complete guide to giving lectures. So make sure to drop the word walk into the chat. So Reed, we did mention a little bit about running the tests on ourselves, but how does FDN teach us to walk the talk? I know that you have a lot of things that you're teaching people as far as becoming fantastic practitioners.
Yeah, good question. When I started doing FDN, before we called it FDN, I was out in the public giving lectures. And so they could see me talking the talk and walking the talk. I believe in getting in front of people, as many as possible. And now there's no crowd too large. I mean, I started off scared to death in front of maybe 15, 20 people. And it was scary. But I kept doing it, because people would come up to you afterwards and they would say, hey, nice job, thanks for teaching me. You just have to get out there and do it, if it's not comfortable for you. So that's partly walking the talk. So we preach, whatever you want to say. We emphasize, walking the talk in terms of your own health program. So we eat right, we go to bed on time, or try to most of the time. We exercise, we actually do that. Hate it, but do it. I'm just kidding.
Sometimes.
In terms of stress reduction, well, I've learned to take time out and breathe. Just really start each day with a good attitude, kind of a thing, and watch the other forms of stress, like say no to people who are a pain in the ass. They want you to do something. It's like, I don't feel like it. Come on, just say no. It's so much less stress. You get to do other cool stuff that's of your own making and choosing. So stress reduction is huge. And then taking your supplements, and I do pretty darn good about 3 weeks out of the month. There's a week out of the month when I kind of slack off. I think it's my body telling me something, to give it a chance to process and detoxify and get and balance, things like that. And you just kind of get into this rhythm. So DRESS, diet, rest, exercise, stress reduction, supplementation. It's our system of how you fix everything, basically. And then if you're doing it, you got something to show for it, and people know it. And then in terms of being an FDN practitioner, I have said, the way that I built my business, and it was, if not one of the top, it was the top nutrition practice in the country.
Wow.
All throughout from 2002 to about 2008, I'd say there was nobody that was more successful. Now, that seems like a while ago, but, I turned to teaching, so I don't do as much actual taking on clients. But I know how to get them, and I have, just like I tell my graduates and students you got to get out in front of people and do some talking. Well, I still do it all the time. I do it, but now I'm instead of recruiting clients, I'm recruiting new FDN practitioners, because that's how I get to reach more people. Personally, I can only help so many people, but if I can deputize a lot of FDNs, then look at how many people we're reaching then. So I practice what I preach. I get out and talk. I fly around the country, and I invest in those, vendor booths and bringing the staff there and all the stuff you have to do to have a successful conference, putting them up in hotels and paying their, I invest and put my money where my mouth is and walk my talk.
Well, some of the things that we've talked about that we talk about in the course and that you and I have talked about is actually what you mentioned is doing lectures and workshops. Do you have some pointers for health coaches about how they can get out there and do lectures? So many people are afraid of public speaking. So I would love to know what kind of pointers you have.
Well, relax, and understand that if you are going to meet people one at a time and try to recruit them, and compare yourself with someone who goes out and does public speaking and talks to 20, 30, 40 people at a time, who's going to get the most business? Who's going to get the most business? If you meet someone in a library, a grocery store, or at a family gathering, or at work, you're going to pretty much be one-on-one. And you can go through your intake discussion, your discovery. We have this way of doing that that's pretty subtle to determine if they're a prospect or not. Well, doing it one-on-one or doing it in front of even 10 people, who's going to get the most customers? Who's going to do the most good in the world? Who's going to make the most money, have the most successful stress-free practice, is the person who's talking to people in numbers. So if you understand that, then you can just relax and go, well, I better, suck it up a bit. But it's not that difficult. It's really like having a party. Raise your hand if you've ever had a party. Now, what's the first thing you have to do? Set a time and a place, and then invite people. So you can't have a party if you don't invite people. So you set a time and a place, and then you invite people. And guess what? They show up, and then you have a party, and that's all that public speaking is. It's a little more, one-sided perhaps, that you got the people who are going to enjoy the entertainment, so to speak, and you're going to provide it, and it's on you. There's even such a thing as co-speak. Have two speakers. I welcome. Thanks very much for coming today. I really hope that we can help you folks. I'll be speaking on part of the time, and then my partner here, so and so, will be speaking part of the time. We're going to cover a lot of ground, and then you continue to introduce yourself and the other person. You can introduce each other. I've done dozens and dozens, if not hundreds, of library lectures. I love libraries because they're places of learning. People come there to learn something, and as long as you're not selling books, you should be pretty welcome in a library. So don't sell your book in a library. But otherwise, you can go there and talk to. Matter of fact, they already have a community calendar that's got cool stuff on it, and they'll fit you in, and they'll do the inviting for you. They'll let you put up sign-up sheets. You can put up flyers around the library. You can you do this in advance. You get it in their community calendar. And typically, when I was setting up lectures for the public, to get clients, they did at least half the work. You just have to nail down the head librarian that this is going to be helpful and useful in a community service, and that you're not getting paid to do this. We say things like, "Hi, I'm a volunteer speaker. I belong to this group of practitioners, and we're required to go out and educate the public for free. So I'm here to set up a time when we can come out and talk. Like, I'd like you to get out your calendar, if we can. I see here, because you have their bulletin, you do your homework, and you say, listen, I got this speaker and this speaker, and it's in this particular room of the library. Is that a place where I could, we could invite 20, 30 people? How many people do you usually get there?" And that kind of a thing. And then, they'll say, well, wait, what are you going to talk about? And they want to make sure you're not selling books, and you're not going to be doing a whole lot of selling, period. Now, that doesn't mean you can't, hand out surveys, have that person fill out survey. I can go on and on about this. I love teaching, lecturing. Like, did you have a more specific question, or?
No, I just wanted to pick your brain about lectures because, I don't have that issue with public speaking. One of the first things that you mentioned I do, and I think it might have been in our our graduate exit interview, was to go out and speak. And so that is actually something that pre-COVID did a lot. Is we had a holistic health center here, as well as a natural grocers where you can get online, you can book yourself to get in there and speak. And I would go out and talk about, I actually have the ADHD lecture package. So Reed has actually put together some lecture packages for FDNs that you can get access to. And then you can go out, they're pre-made for you, and you have everything you need to go out and give a successful speech.
Well, more specifically, I sell these because I put a lot of work into them, and they're a great investment. They're an investment. And one thing that's included in all my lecture packages is the guidebook on how to set up and deliver successful lectures. And there is a formula. There's a formula that works. I don't know anything else that does work. And there's nothing more frustrating for an attendee. And I've gone myself to lectures and watched, like, maybe a chiropractor or an acupuncturist, some professional person's giving a lecture on something that I'm interested in. And I might not be a great prospect for that, but I want to go and learn. And then maybe I am a prospect for it. So obviously he's there, or she is there, prospecting. Nothing's more frustrating than to go and listen to a great educational piece. Like, they really teach you something, but they have no idea of how to engage and make it easy to do business. So not only do you have to, it's actually better to focus on that part of it than I'm scared of speaking. No, look, you got your material, your material, you're going to go deliver it. You might stutter or flub a sentence here or there. No one cares. You're just going to be yourself. The most important thing is to be yourself. But you get out there and you deliver, and there's a 4-step process to delivering a good talk. You must do all 4 steps. The gal who leaves out a step doesn't sign up people. And once you know what those steps are and you do it every time, then you're going to get more people. Talk to them in groups and you will get customers, the ones who are ready. The ones who aren't ready, they got to come to another lecture when they are ready. So you got to do it.
I can absolutely vouch for that. I say it time and time again, is that if people and coaches and practitioners who go through the FDN course will really follow along with the things that you're teaching, they are going to be successful because you have it laid out plain and clear for them to follow the directions. Buddy wants to know, can he use the lecture packages on Facebook Lives or in classes as well?
That's the beauty of it, and that's a great question, is that you can turn it into a virtual event. And that's actually become very popular. But guess what? I don't want to take complete credit for it, but I was, in my world, responsible for distance coaching. Nobody was doing it. There wasn't any nutrition shops or nutritionists or that were driving up to 90 miles away from the office to do lectures. And I would do that. I'd drive 90 minutes to go give a lecture to 25 or 30 people because I would get customers every time. But the beauty was that I didn't have to make them drive into the office. Now, I worked out of an office, brick and mortar, standard stuff. And I started doing these lectures real close to the office because I wanted to bring people into the office for chiropractic, acupuncture, and for the nutrition services. And then I just ran out of libraries and started going farther and farther away. And one day I just realized, and I said to the audience, I go, you don't have to come in the office. We could just work over the phone. And it just like the light went on it. Really? Because that would save them a drive. And then I even said, yeah, and guess what? I'll save you the office visit fee. It's cheaper to work over the phone. And oh boy, then they were taking those labs home like crazy. They wanted kits. I used to carry kits around in my trunk, and we go out to the car and give them the kits, and I'd have them sign a little form, and I'd be walking out of there with customers. It was a riot, and I really enjoyed it. I did that for years, and that's how I got so many customers. And it's what I'm known for, is having a super high volume practice.
See, you were virtual before virtual was cool, Reed.
I told you many times, all I had was a pager.
Well,
I just hope it didn't go off at the wrong time. Yeah, it worked. Worked really good. Pager and a fax machine.
Well, since you are it sure was high tech. I had a pager too, but I was in high school. Huh. So since you are one of the masters at lectures and workshops, do you have some pointers that you just want to share, some specific things that people can take away and start working with?
4 things.
Okay.
Number 1, if you're giving a lecture, you want to be introduced properly. So either learn to introduce yourself, read your own bio, memorize it if you can, but otherwise go ahead and just read it. That's fine. Or better, have someone else read it. Like I would ask the librarian if she would read my bio for me. And oh boy, they love that because they don't get much of a chance to stand in front of people, and they get up there and then first they say welcome and how fantastic the library is, and then they say how happy they are to be able to present Reed Davis or your name. Insert your name here, and then they'd read your bio, and then you would come on, and then you come along and you go, thanks very much, the bio is true. I go, but the real reason I'm here is because I love helping people, and things like that. So now they hear your bio, so you have to be properly introduced. Why? So that they know why they should listen. Like if you just, I am Reed. Well, you might be the janitor for all they know if you don't introduce yourself properly. So you got to introduce yourself properly. And the other part is really critical is to survey the audience. Even if you engage them and survey them, even if you just say, hey, raise your hand if you've ever been to the doctor before, or something like that, like depending on your subject and the audience and stuff. But you have to engage the audience. What I did was give them all a survey to fill out. Like literally, like on every single chair was a piece of paper, which was a 1-page survey. And why did I have that? Well, I wanted to know what was their main health complaint, how often it bothered them, how long it's been going on, some things they might have tried so far. And I'd give them a list to check off, like possible symptoms, give them some prompts. There's some prompts you could do in a proper survey. But the other most important thing was so that they would turn it in at the end with their name and phone number on it. And nowadays, of course, the email address. And I would call every single one of them the next day and say, thank you for coming to my lecture or workshop. And workshop's probably the better word. And that way you can say, look, this is a workshop. So part of the work is you fill out this survey, and they would, and they turn it in. And then I would even do a little drawing at the end, that would get more people to turn it in. Say, a free massage in our office or something like that, or free dinner for 2. And those are all donated. So, and lots of other things you can have donated to there by the local vendors, vitamin shops and whatever. They'll give you coupons or certificates and things that make, a few bells and whistles never hurt. But the most important thing is your introduction, the survey, and then the body, that what you intended to teach them. You can just stand up there and do whiteboard. You can just stand up there and talk. You can do slides now. And back in the day, we actually had projectors, the kind with the fan and the light, where you had to have the screen, and it would go, between every slide and, the button.
Yeah.
And things. But I did plenty of that kind of a thing. You make up slides. And so then the last and most important step, perhaps, is the offer, call to action, they call it now. We just called it a close. Back in the day, it was, close them. In other words, bring them home, sign them up for your product, or maybe an introductory thing, but whatever. You got to have a call to action. So of the 4 steps, you have the introduction, you have the survey, you have the body of the work, and the close. And if you didn't have time, you just do the introduction, the survey, and the close. The least important part is the education. And, I've even joked around, like, just show up and close them, because that's what you're there for. You're there to help people, and you can't help them if you don't give them a call to action. And so, that's a bit extreme, but you get the point. So if you do those 4 steps, who's going to do better? The person talking to groups who follows the steps? You're darn right, it's going to be that person.
So Liz says she doesn't have much of a bio, just basically that she was sick with fibromyalgia and she got better going through the course and applying the dress protocol. So what do you recommend for someone who feels like they don't have a bio? I mean, she is an FDN, so there's part of it.
What you have is what people cherish the most, which is a story, and a journey that you can express. So in your introduction, you say, hi, I'm Suzanne or Liz or whoever, and I have a real love for people and a passion for helping others, and I also have my own personal story. Let me tell you why. And then you tell them your story, and you just say, so I suffered for years, and I just can't bear that other people are suffering needlessly when they don't have to. So if you have been to the doctor and the therapist and the wherever, and you haven't gotten any results, let me tell you what I did. And then you would survey and say, so that's your introduction. You have a great story to tell. And you say, who here has, had anything like that? And the people who raise their hands or nod their heads, they're your next customers. They're going to sign up with you if you survey them, get them to raise their hand, get them to fill out a little piece of paper with their name and email address on it, with something else. Like, I provide all of those. Each one of my lectures that I sell, the lecture packages, has a different survey, whether it's a stress survey, a fibromyalgia survey, an ADD, ADHD survey, a sleep survey, depending on the nature of the lecture. And then you deliver something to them. You tell them how you turned it around. you ran some labs, you followed the protocol, and things happened. And then you say, so, I want to thank you for coming tonight by offering you a special on my packages, or I want to offer you a free consultation. How hard is that one? And all they have to do is check the box at the bottom of the survey that says, yes, I'd like the free consultation. They turn it in, and guess what? You call them and you do a discovery session with them. And if you go back and listen to our discovery session, Facebook Live we did, and you'll see we got that dialed in. So it's very easy as long as you introduce yourself properly. It's always serve the audience, teach them something, and then make an offer.
Absolutely. So, I mean, again, like I said, you've got it step by step. You can do your lecture, and then you can watch the video and take the FDN course and figure out how to do it correctly. And then you can do the discovery call. You can onboard your clients, and then you can work with them. So it's all there. No need to reinvent the wheel. Well,
and by the way, I should have mentioned that two things. One, that if you're an FDN practitioner, that's saying a lot. You've done some work. It's a robust course. You've studied anatomy, physiology, biochemistry, as it applies to nutritional and lifestyle therapies in medicine. And you're an expert in hormones and immune system and digestion and detoxification and so on and so on. I mean, that's not a bad resume. And it's a reason why people should listen to you. So you establish your credibility with that. This is my training. And then your story, and you go on about your business as we have described. But that was one thing. The other thing I wanted to ask you, Piper, how would a member of the audience today go back and find another Facebook Live we did that was maybe on like the intake? We did one on onboarding.
Right. So if you just go to the Functional Diagnostic Nutrition Facebook page and go to videos, you will be able to look at and scroll through all of the past videos. Last week was an onboarding video that Reed and I did, so you can just go back and reference last week. But those are all there for you on Facebook Live. And if you have any questions, you can definitely drop them in the chat and we can guide you in the right direction. So we are here to help as well. But yeah, all you have to do is go to the videos on Facebook on the Functional Diagnostic Nutrition page, and you'll be able to see all of the videos there. Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Reed, once again for joining me for Health Coach Tip Tuesday. And I hope everybody has a fantastic day. We will be back here next week. Same time, same place. Jen Maleka will be joining me, and we are going to talk about getting clients in spite of COVID. So that's going to be a really exciting topic. So thank you guys for joining us. Thank you again, Reed, for coming on and answering everybody's questions and filling us in on lectures. And I hope you have a great day. Thank you.
You guys have a great week.
Bye, everybody.